Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday, Feb 3rd, so let's take our deep dive into this week in Tesla. We've got a whole bunch of articles to go through, so let's jump right in. One of the things that really caught my eye right off the bat was Tesla's stock performance.
Yeah, definitely. Several articles I saw mentioned that Tesla stock dropped 5% this week, which, wiped out billions from Elon Musk's net worth.
Yeah, that's a big drop. Seems like there are a bunch of things going on, like those new tariffs that President Trump just announced.
Right, yeah. The articles mentioned a 10% tariff. It's on a bunch of goods from China, Canada, and Mexico. And one report I saw actually quoted Tesla's CFO, Vaibhav Taneja. He said the tariffs could really hurt their profitability.
Makes sense, especially since Tesla relies on Chinese manufacturing for at least some of their components.
Exactly. And on top of all that, the tariffs, there's also been a huge decline in Tesla registrations across Europe.
I saw that. France, especially, had a big drop. It was like, what, 63%? Crazy. Do the articles say anything about what's behind this slump?
Yeah, well, there's some talk about maybe backlash against some of Elon Musk's political stuff, affiliation, but they don't really give any concrete evidence.
Interesting. Something to keep an eye on, I guess. Okay, moving on. There have been some reports about Tesla changing the lease prices for the Model 3 and the Cybertruck.
Yep, I saw that too. Several articles said Tesla reduced lease prices for both models, but it's not really clear from the articles what's making them adjust these prices.
Interesting. Well, let's switch gears a bit and talk about this study. The one published in Nature, it really stood out to me because it's all about, how long vehicles last and their mileage.
Oh, yeah, right. The study found that Tesla vehicles should last more than 20 years and have an average mileage of 204,000 miles.
That's impressive. It's like Tesla's really trying to build cars that last.
Yeah, and the study says that, compared to other car makers, Tesla is the leader when it comes to how long theirs last.
Wow. Okay, now back to those tariffs. It seems like they're causing a lot of problems up in Canada. The articles mention some pretty strong reaction from Canadian politicians.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, canceled this big contract with Starlink. It was like, what, $100 million? And he said it was because of President Trump's tariffs.
And there's even talk of like a 100% tariff on Teslas imported into Canada.
Yeah, I saw that. Chrystia Freeland, she's running for prime minister. She proposed it, a 100% tariff on Tesla because of Trump's trade policies.
Wow, okay. So it seems like these tariffs are having a domino effect across a bunch of industries and countries. I'm really curious to see how this is all going to play out. But before we go too deep into that, let's talk about what the analysts are saying about Tesla's future.
Well, the analyst ratings on Tesla are kind of all over the place. Some of them, like Barclays, they're keeping a hold rating because they're worried about the stock's valuation.
So even with all this exciting stuff happening, some analysts are still hesitant about Tesla's stock price. What about the others? Are any of them more optimistic?
Yeah, some of them are highlighting Tesla's long-term potential, especially in autonomous driving and AI. There's definitely a lot of interest in those areas. Yeah, like Wedbush. They're way more positive. They're talking about Tesla's potential in the robotaxi market and, all their advancements with AI.
So some analysts are like slamming on the brakes and others are flooring it. It's pretty wild when it comes to, Tesla's future. Speaking of wild prediction, did you see that article about Elon Musk making a huge donation to the Republican campaign?
Yeah, I think so. One article said he donated $290 million to the Republicans.
That's a lot of money. Makes you wonder, like, what's he thinking?
Yeah, but the article doesn't really say anything about why he did it.
Okay, so we're left guessing on that one.
Yeah.
Back to the tariffs, though, and all the problems they're causing. There was that incident in the Netherlands, where a Tesla showroom got vandalized.
Right, yeah. One of the sources mentioned that it was a Tesla showroom in the Netherlands, and it got hit with, like, swastikas and anti-fascist slogans.
Pretty disturbing. Do you think it could be connected to all this political stuff we've been talking about?
I don't know. The article didn't really say if it was related to Elon Musk's political views or, anything like that.
Well, another thing to keep an eye on, I guess. Okay, changing gears again. There's that new insurance discount program that Tesla is doing, the one that's tied to their full self-driving system.
Oh, right, yeah. They announced that. It's up to 10% off on your insurance premiums if you use their full self-driving. The discount depends on how much, what percentage of your miles are driven with full self-driving on. You have to use it at least half the time to get the full discount.
So basically, they're trying to get people to use full self-driving more.
Yeah.
By, giving them money. But isn't there, still a lot of debate about how safe these systems are?
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the articles mentioned that Elon Musk knows that, that there are still concerns about full self-driving and other driver assistance systems. He said they're supposed to, enhance safety by automating stuff, but it also means drivers have to, stay alert, which ironically, might actually make them less attentive.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like the systems are so good at driving that people get bored,
Yeah.
and then they start checking their phones and stuff.
Yeah. He even said that some people turn off full self-driving just to check their phones because the system is watching them too close.
Wow, okay. So it seems like it's really hard to, like, find the sweet spot between getting people to use these new technologies
Yeah.
and also making sure they're being safe. But before we go too far down that road, let's go back to those analyst calls we talked about earlier. What were they saying about other companies, with all these tariffs and stuff?
Oh, right. Well, Piper Sandler downgraded Constellation Brands neutral because they're worried about how the tariffs will affect Mexican imports. Specifically, they said Constellation Brands distributes Corona, and Morgan Stanley downgraded U.S. Steel. They said they think demand will grow slowly, and they're concerned about their value.
So yeah, these tariffs are definitely hitting a lot of different industries. It's not just Tesla that's, like, feeling the pressure.
Speaking of Tesla, there was that news about their robo-taxi fleet, right? Like when they're planning to launch it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. One article said they're aiming for mid-2025 for the robo-taxi fleet launch.
That's a big deal. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, especially with all the, rules and regulations around autonomous vehicles.
Right, but the articles didn't really get into any of that, the regulatory stuff or any problems the launch might face.
So we'll just have to... Okay, back to Canada for a second. There were some reports about banning Tesla's showroom from certain malls.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. One article talked about it. There's talk about banning Tesla showrooms from some malls in Toronto and Oshawa in Canada. And it's all tied to this whole political thing with President Trump's tariffs and Elon Musk supporting him. Chrystia Freeland, the one who suggested the 100% tariff on Teslas, she's been pretty vocal about not liking companies that support Trump.
So it seems like Canada's really pushing back against Tesla. They see it as, like, part of Trump's policy. I wonder if this will make Musk change his mind about his political stance.
Yeah, maybe. But the articles didn't say anything about that, whether Musk might change his political views because of the pressure from Canada or anything else.
Well, guess we'll just have to wait and see. We've covered a lot today, from stock prices and politics to new technology and, like, international trade wars. Yeah. It's definitely been a busy week for Tesla.
It definitely has. And even though there's still a lot we don't know, one thing's for sure. Tesla's a major player in the electric vehicle and the tech world.
For sure. They're always innovating and pushing the limits. But before we wrap up, let's talk about some of the smaller stories, the ones that caught our attention this week. We've talked about the big picture, but what about those interesting little details that make This Week in Tesla so, captivating?
Yeah, like one article mentioned Tesla's new insurance thing.
Oh, right, the discount program.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So Tesla's offering a discount on insurance premiums for people who use full self-driving.
Right.
Up to 10% off.
Oh, wow. So the more you use full self-driving,
save.
The more you save. Okay.
Exactly. So it's all based on, like, the percentage of miles you drive using full self-driving.
Gotcha.
And to get the full discount, you got to use it at least 50% of the time.
So basically, it seems like they're trying to get people to use full self-driving more. But, there are still all those worries about safety, right?
Yeah, for sure. Elon Musk even said in one of the articles, acknowledged that there are still those concerns about full self-driving.
Right. And, all those other driver assistance systems,
Yeah.
He said, they're supposed to make driving safer. Like, theoretically, right?
Right.
Because they can, like, automate tasks and stuff.
Right.
But they also require the driver to, like, stay alert and be ready to take over.
Right, yeah.
Which, ironically, can make drivers less attentive.
I know. It's like they're so good at driving that you kind of get lulled into this false sense of security.
Right, exactly.
And you're just like, oh, I can check my phone now.
Exactly. He even said that some people will turn off full self-driving just so they can check their phone because the system is, like, monitoring them.
Yeah.
It's watching.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's like, I'm watching you.
It is. It's Big Brother.
Yeah, totally. So it's like, how do you find that balance between encouraging people to use these systems and also making sure they're being safe?
Right, yeah.
And it's not just Tesla. One of the articles mentioned that General Motors is dealing with the same thing with their Super Cruise system.
Yeah, it's like this whole industry-wide thing.
Totally, yeah.
Like a whole new world.
It is. It's like the Wild West of autonomous driving. We're just figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, and it seems like Tesla is right there on the front lines.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Really interesting stuff. Well, I think that about wraps it up for This Week in Tesla. We covered a ton today. Stock prices, politics, all this new technology, even international trade wars. Crazy week. We'll see you tomorrow.